Hello and welcome to the Kaiju is in the Details. I'm Ian.
I'm Haru.
And this time we watched Kronos. Haru, what did you think of this film? And what did you think this film was going to be about, just on that title that I gave you?
So to answer your first question, at first I kind of liked it, and then as the movie went on, it felt just very stereotypy and gimmicky to me, not like actually that interesting, and then but like, you know, still kind of an enjoyable watch, and then it stopped being an enjoyable watch.
It's a lot of standing around in rooms.
Yeah, and then to answer your second question, based on the title alone, I thought this movie was going to be about, like, you know, some sort of, like, expedition to, like, ancient Egypt or whatever. I know Kronos is Greek, but, like, this is American cinema. They're not going to care. Like some ancient Egyptian expedition awakening some like ancient evil that like turned out to be the god Kronos all along. But no, it just turns out to be like named after the god, but it's actually just like its own separate thing.
Yeah, it's an alien. It's our first alien, which is kind of surprising. This is episode 20. We've got our first alien kaiju. And what a kaiju it is.
Yeah, it walks funny.
It's a tower. It's not really a monster. It's a tower. It's just a big tower that has like stompy peats. It's got little pile drivers that make it move forward somehow, despite the fact there's no motion whatsoever moving them forward. They just stomp. And it makes it move forward somehow.
Well, you know, alien technology.
Alien technology. Aliens don't have to obey the laws of physics. This creature sucks. This movie sucks. I don't like anything about this movie. Last episode, I had to hold it in when I saw the creature. And I because you didn't want to know what it was, and I was like,
yeah,
because I saw it, I looked it up, and I had to be like, yeah, that's what we're seeing next time. Apparently, this did not get very good reviews at the time, but apparently has developed a little bit of a cult, like classic, community. And to them, I gotta say, to each their own, I guess.
I guess they'll just have to listen to this episode and see what we think about it.
I think you should find a better movie, probably. There's lots of them. I like how last episode we were talking about Rodan, and we had that one film reviewer that's like, oh, the American films, sci-fi horror films have such better effects than the Japanese films, and then this one has a cartoon, a bad cartoon even. It's like Clutch Cargo level. Like, it only moves forward because they are moving it forward on the fucking like it doesn't. There's the only animation is in its little stompy, fucking crusher like pile driver feet. And when it's not a cartoon, it's just a big tower that doesn't move. Or it's one of those pile driver feet being superimposed on a scene where everyone has to like stand together to make it look accurate. Because if they don't stand all together in the most unnatural way possible, then one of them is going to be sticking out from behind the feet and not look like it's being stomped. But no, the American films, they look so much better than the Japanese films. I'm bitter. And I didn't like this movie. So I'm taking it out on it.
I mean, at first, I thought I was actually going to be kind of into the movie, because, like, it starts off
It's got a
with,
slow start.
you know, it like I think this is maybe the first movie we've seen with like human possession as like
Yeah,
a plot device.
yeah, I believe so.
And like
Not the last Alien film, and those two are very related.
yeah, and I thought that was just a neat direction to start us off in, and like it was fun seeing the actors being all like, now I'm being controlled, now I'm not being controlled, like going back and forth like that.
Oh yeah, the what was his name? Was he Dr. Stern?
Dr. Elliot?
No, that Elliot? Was it Elliot?
Elliot was the one that was being possessed, I think.
He does a really good job in this film, actually.
Yeah.
Like he's really killing it. Nobody else is, but he's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Everyone else in this movie kind of sucks.
Yeah, so like that opening, I thought, oh, I'm probably gonna enjoy this movie, and then we get to meet the only significant female character in this movie, other than Susie, who's a computer. And
we'll have to get back to Susie.
Like my very first impression of Vera before she even opened her mouth was like, oh, she's gonna be a cool person because like she's involved in this whole science. She's involved in this whole science lab, and she's gonna feel like she's doing her part because she's printing off pictures for everyone. And she turns out to just be a stereotypical female who all she cares about is like dates and movies and why don't you pay attention to me?
Honestly, she's not even stereotypical because she's not enough of a character to be a stereotype. She's a fucking wet piece of cardboard. This is not the worst movie we've seen, to be clear. But it might be the worst character writing we've seen.
Yeah.
Like these are nothing. These people they're nothing.
And the whole love subplot didn't
what
add
subplot?
Anything.
It's just like a running gag.
Yeah, it did like the only real development was like at the start of the movie they were like, oh, how dare you stand me up on this date that we were gonna go on because you have important stuff to do. And then I think they ended up going on the date anyway or something.
No, they tried to, and then he stood her up again.
Right, that's what it was. And then like later on, she's like, "Will you marry me?" And then he's like, "I don't know." And then the giant robot appears. And...
No, Haru. No. He asked, "Can you cook?"
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
He does not say
that.
"I don't know." He asks, "Can you cook?" And then she's like, "I invented cooking." She literally says something to that effect. It's like, and then he's like, "You think you can respect a husband that's pulled the scientific boner of all time?"
Yeah.
And I only wrote that one down because it has the word boner in it.
Yeah, that stood out to me too.
We love when the Joker is gonna give everyone boners. I'm trying to like we could summarize what happens in this movie in like 5 seconds. People stand around in rooms. An alien comes. They look at the alien while standing around in rooms. The alien has mind controlled the guy, and the mind controlled guy is trying to break free. They stand around in rooms. And then they kill the thing after the guy dies. The mind-controlled guy dies. That's the movie.
Well, don't forget about the 25% of the movie where they're in a helicopter.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, where they're in the helicopter and they land on top of the monster's head, and then they like get out, and then the monster moves slightly, and then they get back in, and then they fly off again. Like nothing of value was gained at all. There's a lot of pointless scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was they have this scene of the director of their institute who has been mind controlled by the aliens or alien. Well, we won't get aliens until the sequel, obviously. That's how alien movies work.
Kronos too.
Chronoses. But so he's mind controlled, and we're with him, and then we cut back to the other crew who are in Mexico where the spaceship landed, and they're like, "Oh, the fog sure is dense today," and then it cuts immediately back to the director. It broke me. It broke me.
That was probably unintentionally the funniest bit in the entire movie.
It's incredible. There is a like there's a law in film where you should only be like films. When you think about it, films are not particularly long. You can't actually contain a whole lot of stuff in a movie, like in a standard movie length. That's why they're all 5 hours now.
Book adaptations, you have to cut out like 90% of the book to fit it onto the screen.
Exactly, yeah. Like, if I write like a 10-page script, that's a 30-minute video. And YouTube videos are edited much quicker paced than a movie is. So, like, the amount of stuff you write on a page turns into, like, massive amounts of film. But here's this film, just, like, putting in the most random, pointless nonsense. And it's just like, where is your law of economy of scenes? I know the term is law of economy of characters, and there's not really extraneous. There are extraneous characters in here. Actually, there's the Mexican couple that they room with.
The Mexican couple that's basically there just to establish that, don't forget, the movie's also a little bit racist.
So it's like, oh, we went to Mexico, so we're living with this Mexican couple, and they're giving us Mexican food, and oh boy, isn't that Mexican food spicy?
Yeah.
The guy says, they tell me this Mexican food is just wonderful, and then he eats it, and he has to drink like a full pitcher of water, and everyone laughs.
Yeah.
So that guy, who's playing the wacky professor there, the nutty professor, in this movie is George O'Hanlon. You wouldn't know that name, Haru, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't recognize it.
But you would know George Jetson.
Yeah, I recognize that name.
That's him. He's George Jetson. He's also Joe McDokes, but nobody knows about that thing anymore. So yeah. He was married to Martha Stewart?
What?
For 3 years, but still. 1949 to 1952. Married to Martha Stewart.
Huh.
Oh, different Martha Stewart. Okay.
Oh, that makes more sense. I was going to be
An
like...
actress of the time period.
Wait a minute.
Was in A Lonely Place with Humphrey Bogart. Okay. All right. Sang a duet with Perry Como, you know? They must have met in the Alfred Hitchcock hour. I think he was in that too. Or was it one of the other people that's in this movie? There's definitely some people in here who were in Alfred Hitchcock, but a lot of people were in Alfred Hitchcock. That movie, that TV show ran for forever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, So yeah, he's like a comedy guy, which is why he makes jokes. But it's the kind of jokes where you go, "Ah, this guy's got jokes," where they're not
Yeah.
actually good or funny. It's a real,
Honestly,
a wise guy.
honestly though, like those kinds of like, I mean, it wasn't just his character, but just like in general, the moments of the movie that were funny, intentional or not. Like that's kind of what kept me at least vaguely watching it, because I'm like, oh, this is kind of a fun movie.
That's really fair. Because there's nothing else in this movie to latch on to. The music is standard. Every single stinger, you're like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a movie stinger there, huh? And it's there. It's there.
Also, the music is absent in a lot of the movie, and this time around, it doesn't feel so much as like an artistic decision of like, oh, it's a tense moment, let's not do music. It's more just like they just didn't have music
Didn't
for
bother.
the scenes.
Yeah. The music doesn't really add a whole lot because again, it feels like normal ass music. The effects could be worse, but they could be better. I think the drawing really sucks. I think the animation in this film is really bad.
Yeah.
I would rather them just make a bad puppet, honestly. There was one part of the movie where they show you concept art. Like they like, oh, this is an
Yeah.
artist rendition of what's going on there, and they show you some concept art, and I'm like, man, that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
If the animation looked like that, and like but in motion, that'd be one thing. But the animation, like literally, it looks worse than something you'd see in like Johnny Quest, and they're running on on like a TV animation budget, just a couple years down the line. So it's like you're a movie. Do what a movie can do.
Yeah.
What was the budget of this? $160,000.
Which in today's
I don't know
money
what that would be in
like a million?
10 trillion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous. About 2 million. About
Wow.
$2 million. So like still doesn't really reach a modern day blockbuster, but like if we compare this, hold up, if we compare this to the movie we just watched, Rodan, that's the monster, not the film. There we go. Thank you, Wikipedia. Rodan has a budget that's like $100,000 higher than this, but it has so much more effects, like an insane amount more effects. What if we go the fucking tarantula movie? Because that movie looked great.
Yeah.
Doesn't have one. Great, thank you. Thank you for not letting me prove my point, Tarantula. What about Them? Them was not even a good movie, but the effects were fine. Just has a box office. Does not have... Okay. Well, assume my point is correct. I just think the money they spent on animation could have been spent on a prop instead, and it would have looked better. Or they could have put more money into the animation and made a fully animated creature that looked actually good. This half and half stuff, I don't think works for the film.
Yeah.
And honestly, the creature design doesn't work for the film either. Like, if you don't have the money to make the thing look good, I don't care how interesting it is that it's like a weird tower, like very alien looking device. It doesn't look good. It looks ridiculous.
Honestly, like,
if you don't have the budget to pull it off.
During the whole build up to when they were gonna do the big reveal of what the monster looked like, I have no idea what I was expecting, but I was expecting better than that. I was expecting something like I don't know, just a little more interesting, really. Like, I
Yeah,
get
that's the
that this
thing.
thing's
It's just
supposed to be alien
boring.
technology, but like, it's just a tower. Like,
Like
it's
this
not.
exact concept of like weird angular structure that's giant, that is of a completely alien design that just doesn't make any sense from an Earth standpoint. That's the angels in Evangelion, or at least some of
Mm-hmm.
them. And you know what? They pulled it off because they fully animated the thing.
Yeah.
They made it so it does things, and it looks like it does things instead of being a weird mishmash of puppet that doesn't move. It's like just prop essentially, not even puppet, and animated thing that's barely animated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm getting mad about this. I'm just like, I just spent an hour being bored. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not really that mad. It's just like I just spent an hour getting bored by this movie that has something, but it just didn't pull it off, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they could have, like, just with some better writing, better characters, better everything, it could have been a better movie.
Yeah, if they if you made everything better, it would be a better film. I agree. Better actors, better writers, better director, better effects, better. In fact, why don't we just make it Godzilla? That would be a much better film. But no, like I get what you're saying though. There's like, it's not like it's a bad idea
Mm-hmm.
inherently, and like the message of like overconsumption, I think is actually something that could be like, it's not inherently like, it's not Malthusian in nature the way they present it. It's more of a like, we like a, well, it's weird because it's like partway like a, we need to preserve our resources, but it's like not like, oh, we need to find renewable resources. It's just like, we need to not run through them so fast, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because like the idea of renewable resources just doesn't even pop into their heads. But you know, maybe the just the conversation wasn't there yet. Like, it's the 1950s. What the fuck? Like, dams? There's dams, but you can only put up so many dams.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really
Yeah.
have like solar power yet in that period. I don't think. I'm not exactly privy on the information of that. Privy is not the right word there. Savvy, I think, is probably more accurate. But like, I guess probably windmills. Windmills probably existed. That seems like fairly simple technology.
Yeah, maybe.
But you have to have like a battery, and like you got batteries to a certain extent. But like, you know what I mean? It's pretty. You have to have. It probably wasn't in the public consciousness nearly as much as it is now. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
So I can forgive that. You know. So like, there's something here with this like running, like, because like the idea with these aliens is that they've run out of resource. Well, for one, they've found a way to turn. It's actually like kind of running off some interesting ideas here, where like the aliens, like they instead of turn are able to turn, instead of just matter into energy, are able to turn energy into matter.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like they're like sending, they ran out of energy on their planet, and now they're coming to other planets to get their energy and then bring that back to turn into more matter, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That part I'm not so sure on. It's like, can't you just turn matter back into energy? If you need energy, like what are they doing? Are they just constantly expanding? Like what are they doing with all that matter that they're making? Apparently making giant stupid robots.
Yeah.
But like, there's this idea, like the message at the end of the film is like, oh, we better not run through our resources so we don't end up like that. That's like the idea.
Mm-hmm.
That they, but also it's not subtle at all. They literally like just fucking turn to the camera and say, "Hey, don't run through the resources too fast."
Yeah.
You know, in a way, this film predicted the Iraq War. we the United States are Kronos stomping through Iraq looking for oil.
Yeah.
Oh God. It's like it's got that going for it. It's not like it's an inherently bad thing. It's not rotten from the very beginning like the snowman.
Yeah.
Not rotten to its very core. It's just poor execution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I like
that makes it boring.
on the way, like on the topic of how the film addresses energy, like, you know, it brings up nuclear energy. This time it's not even the subplot or explanation to why the monster exists in the first place, because this time we're dealing with aliens. But like,
yeah,
you know, like the very first way that they try to deal with it is like launch several nukes at it, and
yeah,
it just like
it's really easy to nuke things in this movie.
yeah,
I guess it is the 50s, but like, Jesus.
yeah.
All you have to do is get a scientist to call and say, "Hey, can you nuke this thing for me?" And then they will. It was that easy, folks.
Yeah.
You get respected enough as a scientist. If Neil deGrasse Tyson existed back then, he could have called a nuke on all the people who accused him of sexual assault. Okay. What were you saying, Haru?
I was just kind of like, the main point I was getting to is just comparing it to like the other movies we've seen that brought up nuclear anything. Is like this time the nuclear energy had nothing to do with like why the monster exists in the first place, but in a way it was kind of a catalyst for what ended up happening throughout the movie, because like from what I remember, it's like the path of the UFO completely changed after it got hit by the nukes. And so like if they hadn't fired the nukes at it, then what kind of movie would we have?
Yeah, I don't know. It brings to mind some later Godzilla films, which we haven't gotten to yet, obviously. When, like, once we get to the Heisei era, and especially the Millennium era, where, like, nuclear tests have kind of stopped for the most part, and the big thing as far as nuclear goes is power plants.
Mm-hmm.
And so Godzilla becomes like this being that is attracted to power plants instead of like a being who is born from the nuclear tests. I mean, obviously it still is born from the nuclear tests, but like it's like especially drawn to nuclear power plants, nuclear submarines, like this nuclear powered world as a commentary on like the dangers of that, right? Kronos isn't necessarily a commentary on the dangers of nuclear power plants, though. It's more just a commentary on like the danger of running out of material for the nuclear power plants, I guess.
Yeah, like the role the nuclear energy plays in this movie is really just like to point out like,
thing we want
hey,
to protect.
Nuclear energy is a lot of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when Dr. Elliot was or like the alien that was possessing him was like, hey, let's fire all our nukes at this thing. And like the other scientists were like, what are you doing? That's a lot of energy, and that thing's just gonna eat it all. And
And
like,
the mind controlled doctor had to be like, I don't know.
yeah.
He sounded like that. He did. He did. He did.
He was like,
He sounded
"Well,
just like that.
do you have a better plan?" And the guy's like, "Not really." And he's like, "See, you don't have a plan."
Yeah.
My plan is to nuke it. Give it all the energy.
It is interesting how Kronos feels in a lot of ways reminiscent of kaiju films that haven't been made yet, but like it does it bad. It does it the wrong way. It just is like there's a lot of aspects of it where it's like, oh yeah, that's like something in a kaiju film later on, and then I'm like, but like those movies are interesting and this one's boring. By the way, the computer's name is Susie.
Yeah.
The computer that they use to calculate everything, his name is Susie. And the woman, the one woman in the movie, the woman who works here at this place and never, according to herself, never gets tired of watching this computer, asks, "Why, Susie?" right next to the sign that explains the acronym Susie.
Yeah.
I didn't even write it down because it was so stupid. Some real Marvel Shield bullshit.
Yeah, like, I think it really says something about this movie where a literal computer that's just personified as something feminine plays a much more significant role in the development of the plot than the actual female character that they have in the movie.
She developed the pictures, though. She tussled in the sand for a little bit. She watched while the guy said the Mexican food was spicy.
You know, what stood out to me, though, one thing this movie does that, like, challenges gender norms or whatever is that she actually proposes to him.
Whoa. And then he says, "Can you cook?"
Yeah.
Without any I have to stress this, audience. No response at all except for, "Can you cook?" That's the first thing out of his mouth.
And also, like, I don't know how long they've been together, but it seems like they've been together for, like, some significant amount of time.
Enough time for him to get bored of her, apparently.
Yeah, but like,
Because he hates her.
I get that relationships. I get that relationships worked quite a bit different in the 50s than they do nowadays. But like, surely at some point they would have had like at least a meal together, right? and
No, they can't even get to a movie theater because this man is too obsessed with his work, and he's right. And he's right. So says the movie.
yeah, and like,
this is one of those films that makes you want to explode all men with your mind. Scanner style, just.
yeah, like, I just cannot stress enough how when I first saw her, I was like, oh, she's going to be a character that's proud of her work because of what she's doing to contribute to, you know, what these people are doing. And then she's just like, oh, I want to go out on our date. Oh, why don't you pay attention to me? Oh, why this computer gets more love than I do. And
she is literally like, She has more comedic lines than the comedy guy who voices George Jetson later in his life.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And like, she does get a little bit more serious with her job, like, once they find out, oh, there's an asteroid that's headed towards Earth and it might destroy Earth.
Wow.
So, like, you see her get her head a little bit more into the game of, like, the literal job that she's doing. Like, I don't know, like, the way I see her character is, like, she doesn't seem to really give that much of a shit about what she's like what her job is. I think she's just there for the guy.
Like, she doesn't care about anything.
Well, she cares about going to a movie.
Yeah, she doesn't have interiority. There's nothing in there. She is not ensouled.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there, Haru. Nothing. She is a cardboard cutout of a woman placed in the film next to a cardboard cutout of a monster.
And like after the brief little bit of her actually doing her job and seeming at least vaguely motivated to do it, then like everyone leaves to go and investigate where the UFO landed, and her switch flips back to just not giving a shit about anything.
Mm-hmm. She follows them despite the fact that they tried to leave her, because again, this man hates her.
Yeah.
He hates her so much. I want to direct our attention to a line. I can only think of the giant Kronos. It's said in, obviously, in like describing the creature. In an interview by our friend, the doctor who hates his wife, or not wife. Why? Why can you only think of Kronos? It doesn't look like a man. It doesn't look like Kronos. It's just a big guy. A big tower, in fact. It's not even a guy. It's not even a robot. It's a big tower that somehow moves forward despite not ambulating at all. Why would you call that Kronos? I'm very confused by this movie's title and choice of name for monster.
Yeah.
Is it because it eats energy? It's like it's eating the gods. It's I don't know. I'm trying too hard to make it work. It just doesn't make any sense. Someone should get fired for that blunder. Haru, can we talk about how much high voltage equipment there is in this movie?
There's a lot.
There's like multiple scenes where someone gets backed into high voltage equipment and electrocuted. If I had a nickel for every time, I'd have 2. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice in one movie.
Also, I just have
2
to
different
say,
locations.
I just have to say the first time it happened with the doctor being electrocuted,
it sucked.
That actor was putting 0 effort into dying.
He was like, "I'm dead, whatever." When it happens a second time, it's our friend, the mind-controlled director, and that guy can act, as opposed to everyone else in this film.
Yeah, he really stands out from everyone else.
A lot.
MVP. He actually seems to care about his role and his acting, and showing a lot of emotion in his expressions.
Yeah. And you know what?
And he was
in Alfred Hitchcock's Spellbound.
Ooh.
And he was in Rocket Ship XM. Very unfortunate for him. That movie sucks. The movie stinks on ice. Is this guy only in bad movies? The Gay Intruders. Hello?
Oh?
I think he might have only been in bad movies, because I don't recognize the names of any of these other... I guess Spellbound maybe is fine. It's a Alfred Hitchcock movie. It can't be so bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, Kronos is one of the last films he was in. Oh, shit, he died immediately after that last film, huh?
Ooh. I think this movie killed him.
When the Wikipedia page just says you died in New York City, it really makes it feel like you didn't do much. Okay, he was a Broadway guy. I see.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Broadway guy. He died at age 59. That's fucked up, dude. That's an early death right there. He was on I Love Lucy and Have Gun Will Travel. This guy deserved better. I'm going to say it. He should have been George Jetson instead of the other guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just like it's just a lot of high voltage equipment is all I'm saying.
Mhm.
I've run out of notes already. Wait, no, there's one more note in here. There is exactly one more note in here. So this monster, it starts in Mexico, but then it heads to L.A., which is how you know the stakes are getting real. Because instead of stomping on brown people, now it can stomp on white people. Whoa!
Mhm.
Say it ain't so. Um, and so they have to stop it before it reaches L.A.
Mhm.
But they have to tell everyone that it's coming to L.A. so they can evacuate. And Haru, I think you'll agree that the it was going crazy. It was going crazy in L.A. Everyone was going all over the place, just trying to get out of L.A. You might
No.
say all over the place, as in both lanes, going both directions,
And not at not
and not
at
at the
any
normal like at a normal
particular
pace.
speed. Like,
You might even say it's like normal L.A. traffic going both ways.
yeah.
Like, dog, if you can't get footage of the of like traffic being backed up in LA, can you please just not include it in your fucking film? You could just tell us that. You don't have to show us that one. I know it's show don't tell, but that one you didn't need to show us because you couldn't actually show it to us. They were showing and telling because what they were showing was not what they were trying to tell us.
Mhm.
I can't believe they did that. Um, Normally I like to talk about like all the stock footage that's in a movie, but I honestly couldn't tell you if anything in this was stock footage because there's just a lot of random scenes of random people we don't know doing things, and it could be stock footage or it could be something they recorded for this movie. I have no clue. That LA traffic could have been stock footage. I don't know. Nobody has filled out the Wikipedia page for all that information, so I don't know what to tell you. What do you got, Haru? Sure, you got to have more notes than that, right? You got to have something that I don't have.
I'm trying to think. Like, we've covered basically most of what I wanted to talk about. I guess, like, well, like the scene with Dr. Elliot in the hospital bed, and then he like wakes up, and the doctor that's treating him, like, I mean, first of all, it really struck me how like it struck me how the doctor reacts when he wakes up. Like, instead of it being like a, oh good, you're awake, the doctor's like, oh, let's sedate him. Um
Yeah, dude. If mental health in the 50s wasn't absolute dog shit, this movie would have been over a lot faster.
yeah. And like, again, like, on that same note, when Dr. Elliot is like, you know, starting to panic, like, oh my god, I finally have control of myself, and the doctor is just like, okay, let's put you to sleep, or it like.
it's, it's crazy. He keeps calling the alien that's mind controlling the guy an incubus.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. And yeah, so like, then on top of like the rest of that, it's like, I don't know what else there is to say, other like, it was a weird scene.
Yeah.
Oh right, the other thing that caught my attention with the scene with that doctor was like electroshock therapy,
Yeah. They
which
keep
was
electrocuting him.
everyone's favorite treatment in the 1950s.
I did like the note that it kept making him like turn back into the evil version because it was feeding the alien the energy
Yeah.
from the electroshock. That was like, God. There's like little pieces here and there where it's like, oh, that's clever,
Mm-hmm.
but like the movie's boring, so like it doesn't even matter how clever it is.
Yeah.
I went to IMDb for help in finding some of this stock footage. Apparently, the scenes of Mexican citizens running away from the robot were filmed in Hawaii in 1956 for the Revolt of Mammy Stover. The Revolt of Mammy Stover, 1956. Which would explain why they look better than most of the rest of the film. I knew they couldn't film anywhere outside of a fucking room. Also, you can find some props from the day the Earth stood still. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they wanted to remake the film in the 1970s because of the energy crisis. That's kind of a neat idea. Apparently, when the missiles launch, the count goes from 19 down to 12, then to 7, and then back to 10. That's awesome. The truck at the beginning, I didn't even notice this. The truck in the beginning of the movie, which was filmed indoors, has no windshield, as evidenced by the sun visor partially extending into the opening. And in the next scene filmed outdoors, the same truck now has a windshield. That's awesome. That's so cool. And then, of course, when they hit the fucking Kronos with Omega particles, it's in LA, basically. And then when it blows up, it's suddenly out in the middle of a desert where they can safely blow something up.
Yeah, I think I'm out of things to talk about.
Yeah. Here we are at minute 54, which is probably going to get cut down to like minute 48, perhaps. I'm wondering how accurate that's going to be. Let me know in the comments how accurate I was on that estimate.
Please engage with us, listeners.
You will engage. You will eat the bugs.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button.
I don't like this movie, Haru. I don't think it was very good.
I probably think it was better than you did, but like even I, who is easily pleased by most things, like genuinely the only thing keeping my attention for like especially the latter half of the film was just like the comedic moments, intentional or unintentional. Like,
yeah, I miss when American films were like King Kong instead of like this. Can we get King Kong back in here?
Even like what was the one we saw recently with the Western one?
Oh, the Beast of Hollow Mountain.
Yeah, even Beast of Hollow Mountain, which was not that far off ago.
That was so good.
Like, they could make good movies in this time period.
Well, that was last year, Haru. We can't make good movies in the 1957. No, maybe we'll see a good movie next time. And The Deadly Mantis. I gotta be honest, Haru. The Deadly Mantis does not sound like a good movie, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, based on impression, just the fact they had to throw in the word deadly makes it sound very much like a B movie. Like, if,
would you prefer they call it the Kind Mantis?
Well, just like, we had Tarantula, which they just said
That's
Tarantula for the title of the movie, and then this time around they just have to be like the Deadly Mantis. Why couldn't they just be like Mantis?
So you think we're gonna see a mantis in the Deadly Mantis, or are we gonna get like a giant tower that stomps around?
I think we're gonna see a mantis. The question is it gonna be a puppet or is it gonna be a real mantis? And if it's a puppet, is it gonna be a good puppet?
That's true. I've got a feeling it's just gonna be stock footage of a real mantis superimposed over shit. Which, that worked for Tarantula pretty
Yeah.
well, so.
Yeah, we've seen that kind of thing can be well executed.
That's true, yeah. I think we said this last episode, but 1957 is stacked. There is a lot in here.
Mm-hmm.
After Deadly Mantis, we have 20 Million Miles to Earth, then The Giant Claw, then Beginning of the End, then The Black Scorpion, then The Mysterians, before we make it to 1958. Like, that's so many movies. We're going to be in 1957 for I think for like 2 months.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
actually, no longer than that, because we do every 2 weeks, not every week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually going to be more like 4 months. 4 months of 1957.
We're gonna
The
get
long
so
1957.
We're gonna get so sick of 1957.
But 1957 is capped off with a trip back to Toho for the Mysterians. So hopefully that'll make 1957 a better year.
Mm-hmm.
That movie just barely comes out in 1957 too. We shouldn't do about it yet. We just had one bad film in 1957. Surely The Deadly Mantis will be better. Surely, I've actually seen 20 Million Miles to Earth. That one's fine. Giant Claw, that's a classic. Hopefully it's still good. I haven't seen it in quite a long time. I don't know on that one. Beginning of the End is bad. That one's just bad. Black Scorpion is also kind of bad, but it has some good effects. I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to take a while, huh, Haru?
It is.
At least things will speed up eventually. Like, we're going to zoom when we get to the 70s. Things slowed down again around the 90s, but once we hit the 70s, we're going to be able to zoom through a couple of years. Of course, the 60s and the rest of the 50s are going to be very, very long. So, little bit of good in one hand, a little bit of bad in the other.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll eventually get to better films than this. We don't have to wait until after the 60s. There's some good films in the 60s. We're gonna have a good time in there.
Yeah.
In some of those. It's just every time we get a bad film, I feel like it makes us wonder, like, are we always gonna have bad films? Is it bad films forever now? But no, there's not. It's not bad films forever. Anything else, Haru?
No.
Okay.
I'm done with this movie.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. This podcast can be found wherever podcasts are found, which is what you can tell your friends when you share this podcast with them, or family. You could get your mom listening to this podcast. So you could get your dad listening to this podcast, maybe. I think your mom's more likely to listen to it. We do hate on men a little bit here. If you do so, we really appreciate it. It's the best way to make a podcast grow. If you like YouTube, you can, of course, find us on thempodian on YouTube. And you can like, share, and subscribe, just like we said earlier. Haru, where can people find you?
I am Haru Hayes. You can find me Haru Hayes on twitch.tv, where I stream occasionally. I think right now I'm kind of at the rate of where I stream once every 2 weeks. I actually, on that note, I do have a slight update where recently I found out about a Tiltify campaign called VTubers Against Ice, and they're going to be raising money for ACLU. And I decided to hop in on that, so I'll be probably doing a couple streams for them over the course of the next few months. So yeah, find me there. Bring money to donate to the Tiltify.
Yeah. And I am Thempire Iain, vampire VTuber and card game extraordinaire. You can find my main channel, Thempire Iain, where I do video essays. I usually say Yu-Gi-Oh! Video essays, but the one I've been working on for quite some time, is about the Evangelion Godzilla crossover, which seems pretty relevant to all of you. I'll let you know more details when it's going to come out, but you might want to go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you're ready when that happens. You can, of course, also follow Tomb of the Empire Ian, where I do Let's Plays and VODs for my streams on Twitch, which you can also follow. And, of course, Dempod Ian is where I put this podcast and any others I may do in the future. I think we're ready to go here, Haru. Are you ready to say goodbye to Kronos?
Yeah.
Sayonara, Kronos.
Sayonara, Kronos.
Still more of a tower than a kaiju.